Jimmy White in the crowd, one of the many VIPs here today.
Please welcome a player who at times this week has been simply sublime, conceding only 3 frames en route to this, his record 10th Masters final. He is one of this tournament's favourite sons. He first won the title in 1995. Here he is, ready to turn back the clock in style. He's the reigning champion of the world. Blink and you'll miss him. The Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Well, the performance he produced against Ricky Walden in his second match, when he dismissed Walden 6-0 in under an hour, was perhaps the greatest exhibition of snooker this great tournament has ever witnessed. 38 years of age and still at the peak of his powers. Who knows how many more major titles he could win. And what a roar for the Rocket.
And his opponent, here for his 5th Masters final in 7 years. An amazing record from a player who never knows when he's beaten in this tournament. Coming through 2 6-5 deciders this week alone. 3 times a winner of this crown. He is the defending champion. Here comes the Chester from Leicester, Mark Selby.
And if there's one player who knows how to beat O'Sullivan, it is this man, Mark Selby. They've met 17 times before, and Selby's won 7 of them. And that is a very favourable statistic when you consider what a great player Ronnie O'Sullivan is. He's beaten him in 2 major finals, including here at the Masters. He has the game to trouble the Rocket. Can he do so today? 11 final frame deciders here at the Masters, 11 victories. An extraordinary stat that is. So we're nearly ready to go. Our referee, Paul Collier, just places that magnificent trophy on the table, ready for the photos to take place. And as the players shake hands, let me introduce our summariser today, Mike Hallett, former world number 6. Mike, we are so excited about what we're about to see.
Unbelievable. I mean, we were looking at the semi-final draw, whoever came through, we're thinking we're going to have a cracker, but these 2 guys are well matched up, of course. You know, I mean, there's a lot of needle between these 2 as well. Competitive needle. You know, there's been quoted, Ronnie in the papers this week have put, said that he calls Mark the torturer.
Call the cameras and the phones
and
away now, please.
we know why. We can understand why he said that, but it gives that little bit of edge to this match. But what a day ahead of us. I mean, this guy's been playing some great stuff this week. The way he disposed of Ricky Walden 6-0 was sublime, unbelievable. Somebody quoted snooker from the gods. But of course, the defending champion, should say, we can't get better than this, the defending champion against the world champion. This guy at the table here, well, he has an armour of steel. He's so tough. So it's going to be interesting how the match unfolds today.
8 frames in this first session, and a possible 11 to be played this evening. 10, the target to be crowned Masters champion. And what a sight that is, packed to the rafters, not a seat to be had. What an atmosphere they've generated this week.
Been great crowds in, supported this tournament fully all week, and supported the players as well. It's been fantastic. And a wonderful reception for these 2 players as they came out. Well, there was room there for the red to pass. Just caught the other one on the way through. Don't know whether he's done any damage, actually. The red near the pink won't go.
Bound to be a few early nerves out there.
Playing the safety. Trying to get the white down towards the brown. Well, he's on the other side, actually. But this is going to be a fascinating match between these two. Well, that was a mile away. Just depends what this red does. I think he's okay. Oh, is he? No, well, that's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. Twice up and down the table, and it's finished there.
First opportunity then falls to the rocket.
Yes, he wasn't too close with that one, Mark. First point on the board then. It's been noticeable this week that Ronnie has been so relaxed. His son Ronnie Jr. was here last evening. I don't know if I've seen him today. I'm sure he's here today somewhere. There's a lot of family around him. Damien Hirst is here. His great friend.
7.
We've already seen Jimmy White in the audience, and also the 1977 UK champion Patsy Fagan.
13.
White, who won his solitary Masters title 30 years ago. Hard to believe so many years have passed since he beat Terry Griffiths for this great title.
$14.
Well, he'd like to have landed on that red straight into the
19.
corner to get onto the black, but having to take this one instead. Still a few loose reds here for Ronnie.
20.
As our MC Rob Walker mentioned at the top of the show there, Ronnie O'Sullivan here has only dropped 3 frames, 6-1.
26.
It's Robert Milkins in the first round. Of course, that 6-0 drubbing of Ricky Walden. He was just a spectator. That was unbelievable stuff that Ronnie played there. And of course, 6-2 last evening against Stephen Maguire. And he just seemed to, once he's in,
27.
to be hitting the ground running here in most of his matches.
Well, he missed this tournament 12 months ago, didn't he? In forced exile, having decided to take the season off until he returned to retain his world title, and I think he did miss it.
I think I saw him one day, actually. He was here one day watching, and I think he was a little bit jealous that he's saying, I want to be out there. Well, he's come back with a vengeance.
33.
It's just a little bit too much of a stretch there, so he'll need the extended rest and extension. Paul Collier from Wales, referee in the final here.
$34.
Looks a little bit straight on this black. He could have done a little bit of an angle just to nudge into those 2 reds. Not much angle there. Which red will he play on? Possibly one to the middle. Oh, he's playing the pink, actually, to stay on those 2 reds. That's fair enough. Great shot.
Make shots like that look so easy. They're really not.
40.
Even with all of his talent, Phil, he still works so hard on the practice table. He puts the hours in. Don't you worry about that. You know, he is the most talented, gifted player we've ever seen.
41.
But he does work very hard.
He does, and I think O'Sullivan will probably be thinking to himself, I'm 38, I'm still at the peak of my powers.
47.
I want to win as many of these major titles as I possibly can in the time I've got left at the very top, so that I can, when I eventually hang up my cue, and I'm sitting in my comfy chair at home, surrounded by the grandkids, I can reflect on the fact that I've won absolutely as much as I possibly can with the talent I've got.
Yeah, and it's only a couple of years ago we were thinking like he was on the wane and not really interested
54.
in the game, wasn't he? He's rekindled that interest. You know, say a couple of seasons ago it was like, oh, you know, we were thinking, have we seen the last of Ronnie? Well, I'm glad that we haven't.
Lovely shot to release the tricky red from the side cushion. It would have been outlandish, wouldn't it, just 2 or 3 years ago to think that O'Sullivan could possibly challenge Stephen Hendry's record tally of 7 world titles, but having won the 5th in the manner in
61.
which he did, as Selby watches on there, just a few months ago, who would bet against him doing so now?
62.
He'll certainly take some beating again at the Crucible in the spring as he looks to tie Steve Davis's tally of 6. He's already got this frame in the bag.
68.
8 minutes and 20 seconds.
69.
It's a joy to watch.
Well, there's records to be broken there for Ronnie, isn't there, Phil? You know, he's got that 556 points without reply. He's got that one. He's only 30-odd centuries behind Stephen Hendry's record at the top of the centuries chart.
75.
You're talking about Masters,
76.
you know, UK World Championships. You know, he wants them all. He wants all the records. And within the next couple of seasons, he could get there.
Well, this is a record 10th
83.
appearance in a final at the Masters. If he wins today and claims his 5th
84.
Masters title, he'll only be one behind Hendry's record of 6. There's plenty for this man to play for in the next few seasons. And what a start he's made here. This is the result of Mark Selby's big miss on the long red.
90.
Sat in his chair ever since. Well, somehow he's got to move this red from the black.
91.
Might be the pink, actually. Well, it's just a tougher pot, but he's got a good angle to run into them. Oh. Well, again, I mean, he made that look ridiculously easy. This is sometimes when Ronnie plays, it's just like a knockabout in the club. Oh, he's missed that one, though. What a pity.
Human after all. No century for O'Sullivan, but that really is throwing down the gauntlet. A statement of intent from the Rocket. A sublime break of 97 after the error from distance from Selby. And it's Ronnie O'Sullivan who strikes first. He leads Mark Selby by 1 frame to 0 in the Masters final. First frame of the Masters final has come and gone in just a shade over 10 minutes. And that man, Ronnie O'Sullivan, struck a quite sublime break of 97 to move 1-0 in front. 10 is the target, of course. 7 more frames in this first session. And when he starts knocking in the long reds to go with his sublime play around the black, your opponent is in trouble. What a pot.
Well, some of the stuff he produces on occasions is just in the stratosphere. Saw that the other evening with Ricky Walden, but my Mark here could be a spectator once more in this frame. But it was a great pot. It was one area of O'Sullivan's game a few seasons back which was, relatively speaking, a weakness. And he was the first to admit that his long game was at times a bit ropey, but he seems to have rediscovered his ability from distance. And what a potent combination when you can pop the long ones and then build breaks like he can. Well, he's in the cauldron again, isn't he? I mean, he had that year out, Phil, as we know, and came back and won the world title. That was incredible, really. But what happens is he lost that part of his game simply because of lack of match practice. It's okay being on the practice table, but you want to be out there in the heat of battle. When he was in close, when we watched him in that World Championship, the first 2 matches, he was still great, but his long potting was not there. He got it towards the end of the tournament, but it took him two or three matches. But of course, the long matches in the World Championship as well allowed him to build himself into his game once more. But it's back again. He's been in the heat of battle this season and is right at the top of his game now. He could be a handful today for the defending champion.
14.
Well, he's on the red. He's gone a touch too far there because he wanted to leave himself an angle to nudge the other red away from the black. Just checking the pink, actually. That might pot, and if it does, he can split the pack. Just leave himself low on this pink. Oh, that's perfect.
20.
Oh, this next shot could be very telling indeed. He's got 1 or 2 open. That's not bad. It's just come far enough for the left on red. Just wonder whether he'll take the risk here. Just play a little cannon on the red near the black. He could play into it. He could come off the top cushion. If he gets that black open, who knows? It could be 2-0. This is a great shot. We talk about his cue power and cue action. Okay, these cloths are beautiful, but he gets so far through the ball. He's had to work on that. He's worked on that technique over the last 3 or 4 years. That's a beautiful cue action. Chose to come round for the blue, played the percentage shot. He's still got
27.
3 open reds there. That's about with those. Well, he's needed that red to come around. He's still got 1 to the left corner, but if this guy gets on a roll, Phil, we know what a great front runner he is.
32.
Well, of course, Mark Selby did exactly this in his semi-final to Sean Murphy, who didn't trouble the scorers in the first 2 frames.
33.
Barely got a shot. And now the jester from Leicester is on the receiving end.
There's a long way to go. Mark knows that. He won't be panicking just yet. It could be 2-0, but still 2 more frames to come before the interval, I should say. And again, to say we've got 8 frames this afternoon, and then a possible 11 this evening. Oh, that was in the corner. He hasn't rested on the blue, has he? I think he's okay.
39.
Well, he got there with the white because the pink went into the side of the pocket.
40.
There you go. There's Jimmy Whirlwind White.
Very good friend of O'Sullivan. I think he's approving of what he's seeing.
45.
They had some battles down the years here at the Masters. Jimmy won a couple
46.
of them. 2001 and 2, got the better of the Rocket. You can imagine the atmosphere that was generated when the Whirlwind met the Rocket at Wembley. Heavyweight clash, if ever there was one.
48.
Might just hold for the pink here. That's a good angle to split those other reds. And if he gets those open, this frame is over. You can pretty much predict that these days. The way these guys play at this sort of level, doesn't take them much to finish off a frame.
$49.
Well, again, the frame could be about this next shot. He's only just pushed the one out. That's fair enough. Working these well. He's looking sharp. He has all week.
55.
Red colour red will be sufficient for O'Sullivan to double his lead.
56.
Well, if anything, he's just gone a fraction too far. I think he can hold for the right-hand red. He's just got something on the cue ball where he's striking it.
Oh, yeah.
Just have a look at this. I think this is a little bit of a big bounce off that cushion. He didn't play it there. He was hoping to be nearly straight or just off straight. He's played the cannon for the right on red.
62.
You can kick this in. Well played.
That was frame ball then. Mark Selby has yet to pot a ball in this Masters final. 2 frames have already gone west for him.
69.
Well, the torturer is being tortured at the
70.
moment.
That was the way that O'Sullivan described Selby in his recent autobiography. Well, he's missed the pink, that's a surprise, but with 70 on the board,
Ronnie
the
O'Sullivan,
frame
70.
is surely secured. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Mark Selby, though, try and get a bit of table time here. He's had precious little so far.
Can't blame him for that. But Ronnie will be
What?
annoyed with himself because he wanted to keep Mark cold in his chair. First points on the board then for the Leicester man, although he does need 3 snookers.
7.
In fact, he needs more than that. Was it 63? 43 on. He needs 5 snookers.
Eight.
He'll just be relieved to be potting a few balls, I think.
Well, I don't know whether he might play a snooker behind the black here. See what happens. He's going for the pot, so
14.
he has relinquished the frame, I should say. Oh, well, he's played the safety. That surprised me. If he's going to play it that way, why didn't he come in behind the black?
14.
No real chance for Mark in this frame.
Yeah.
I think he's had enough.
Frame
He has.
conceded. Frame Ronnie
So
O'Sullivan.
Mark Selby remains in his chair. Another very fine break from Ronnie O'Sullivan at 70 to back up the initial 97, and in no time at all he's moved 2-0 ahead of Mark Selby in the Masters final, 8 frames away from claiming his 5th Masters title. We'll be back for frame 3 in a moment. The perfect start then for Ronnie O'Sullivan in his bid to land his 5th Masters title and deny his opponent here in the final, Mark Selby, a 4th Masters crown. 2-0 O'Sullivan leads.
Thank you. The 3rd frame. Ronnie
Breaks at
O'Sullivan to break.
97 and 70.
Well, the champion's got to make sure that his safety is good. Has been all week, but certainly today, because he knows that Ronnie's on it. A little bit on the thick side. Just as I've said that, he's played a poor one. Far too thick on the red. Got that about half ball. Well, Ronnie's looking at this red on the left-hand side. He's just checking the black. He might come through for it. He could screw back for one of the bulk colours. Looks downward striking. Well, he's just messed the black up there. Covered it with that red. Chance for Mark to put this red into the right-hand corner. Again, come back for the blue or one of the bulk colours. Pink and black tied up now. Unlucky. Hang on, hang on. Has he got the colour?
Don't think so.
It's not quite on the diagonal, Phil, is it? Yes, he can get through to that.
was mighty close for Selby.
It's all about table time at this level. We saw yesterday when Mark disposed of Sean Murphy 6-1. And it just didn't give Sean a chance. He's missed the wrong side, not just going in and out of bulk here. Needs to avoid the bulk colours. Nah, no good. If he misses the yellow, it would have been perfect. Don't think he'll take one on here. I think it's got to be a safety.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 6.
Well, it's not a bad note because he's wrong-sided mark here for the left-hand side. We can chip off one back to the bulk area from the right. His last safety wasn't too good. He's got to make sure that this one is better. All of them, in fact. The move that Ronnie's in. Dear me. I don't know about you, Phil. Mark's just looking a bit edgy to me.
Well, he is, but he's been hit with a couple of big punches, hasn't he, right at the beginning, and it just makes every shot that little bit more difficult when you know your opponent is so lethal when he gets a chance.
One.
O'Sullivan capable of intimidating opponents through his sheer ability. Selby has been better than most at handling that in the past, but I think Ronnie O'Sullivan these days is an even tougher nut to crack, because we know with the work he's done with sports psychiatrist Steve Peters, as Selby warms his hands out there, he's now much more forgiving of days when he doesn't play quite at his best. He's willing to play the more patient game. Just makes him that much tougher to beat. And he was always very tough.
I think also that the audiences expect that. I mean, the performance he put against Ricky Walden the other day. I was talking to one or two people backstage. You know, a couple of friends around Ronnie were saying that, you know, they expect it all of the time. It's impossible. You know, he's a human being. He's not. He's flesh and blood. He's not a robot. We used to think about that in the about Steve Davis in the 80s when he used to play. We called him the robot. He hardly missed, but he was more methodical. But he was still clinical.
Well, O'Sullivan was nowhere near the level against Stephen Maguire in last night's semi-final that he produced against Walden, but he still won comfortably and finished with a flourish with that wonderful century as well.
He started better today, though. That's not in doubt.
$20. $21.
It's not always just the. It's not just the clinical nature of the breaks, Phil. It's the speed of what he does it at. You know, the thought process of working everything out and executing it. You know, no time at all. Bang, frame gone in 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes.
Well, what a wonderful shot on the pink that was
28.
just now. I mean, he made it look so simple, but the speed at which he lined up the pot, which wasn't a gimme by any means, the position that he achieved from it, breathtaking, really.
Well, you know, even when he plays the other players, you know, he plays against the faster players on the tour, and he can make them look slow sometimes.
34.
Shot time, just 16 seconds
35.
at the moment. That's the average.
As you see it, first to 10 will be crowned Masters champion this evening, and this might be 3-0 in a minute. That's why whoever he plays, it's a packed house.
41. $42.
Too far for the black, I think. Might have to be the pink. This is not straightforward, especially if he does play the black. Pink it is. Well, he's had to work these, and he's played them very well.
48.
Mark Selby has scored just 14 points in this final to date, and they were irrelevant ones at that. Potted after O'Sullivan had done more than enough to win the second frame. He hasn't potted a ball that counts as yet. Yes, it's early days, but pretty ominous signs for Selby. I think he hit that too well.
55.
But he's recovered the situation.
Yeah, it sounded like a heavy contact as well, which has taken the pace out of the cue ball a little. And the path for the blue is blocked, so he should get this.
This is frame ball. It's there. What a start from Rocket Ronnie. And that man already has plenty to think about. He's done precious little wrong.
62.
Well, when it's one visit stuff, what can he do?
Went for a long red in the opening frame, admittedly missed it by a long way. O'Sullivan stepped in.
63.
10 minutes, 97 break, 1-0. Second frame. Fantastic long red, nothing Selby did wrong there. Break of 70, 2-0.
70.
And then under pressure, another safety error from Selby at the start of this frame.
Well, he's got a shot on the blue, but he was just trying to nudge that red off the top cushion. Clipped it a little bit on the thin side. Don't be surprised if this goes in, and he makes another century, or makes a century. He nearly made one in the first, a 97 of course, but it's unbelievable.
Poker face, Selby. He won't panic. He's got
76.
one of the best temperaments in the game. We know what a tough battler he is, but at the moment, he's in the eye of a storm.
Well, as our fellow commentator Phil Yates often says, the rocket has left the launch pad.
82. 83.
And when he plays like this, he really is in a class of his own.
90.
Snooker's one authentic superstar, still setting the standards
91.
that the rest have to try and match. Good luck with that. It's ridiculous.
96.
Well, no century, and it's a shame because that wonderful break certainly merited the three figures. But what a performance we're seeing here from Ronnie O'Sullivan. This is almost as good as the stuff he produced against Ricky Walden. We've only been playing for 30 minutes. It's 3. Mark Selby then breaks off in the fourth frame, wondering, I'm sure, what's hit him out here this afternoon. He's been in excellent form to get to the final, and he may still be. Hard to tell, really, because this man has completely monopolised the table. Half an hour's play, already 3-0 up, with some of the finest break building you could ever wish to see. Well, there you go, 269 plays 14, and as we mentioned just now, those 14 points were purely academic because they came after the second frame was long since won. Selby's got to make something happen in this fourth frame. And that's a pretty good way to do so. That should give him a bit of confidence.
One.
He needs a few more of those. Just get himself on this red near the black. That's a great pot. Great control of the cue ball as well to get back for the blue. This is all part of the champion's plan, you know, Phil. He needs to go through a few frames behind before he kicks in.
Well, we know he's capable of coming back against O'Sullivan in major finals. He did it here when he won the title in 2010. Won a final frame decider from behind. That's gone awry. Oh dear.
7.
Could do with that touching.
Touching
It
ball.
is so much easier to play the safety, but of course I would have liked to have had a shot on the blue. Well, we said that Mark won't panic just yet, but he'd certainly want this frame on the board going into the mid-session interval. 3-1. He comes out 3-2. It's game on.
Blue ball. Mark Selby 7.
He's got to be careful of the red on the top cushion here. He's played it wider side. The red to come up the table a little. It's a good cue ball, but he was hoping that red might contact something actually. And Mark has a half chance here on this red that's just beyond the blue. Don't know whether he'll take it to the corner. Might chip it into the middle. I think it's the corner actually. Nope, not this time. Depends where that finishes. Oh dear. Things not going well for the champion at the moment.
That was a long way out again. He's under a huge amount of pressure in the early stages by the sheer genius of his opponent.
One.
Well, he's just about got a shot on the green. Might lay the snooker. No, he's attacking. Well, he can't get. It doesn't get better than this. The way he's striking the ball.
4.
Well, he didn't have
5.
much angle. He would like to have been a little bit higher on this black. I think he'll still go for it. Just catch the side of the pack to hold the white. Again, just where he's striking it, there's something on the cue ball. Well, our referee, Paul Collier, when you've got a guy like Ronnie in this sort of form at the speed he plays, the referee has to be on the toes as well. Oh, hang on, is that wide? I thought it looked wide when he hit that.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 5.
Well, that's the first potting error that O'Sullivan has made in this final.
Well, his pot success was 97%. It's just gone down to 94 after that miss. Well, I've got another chance here for Mark to get his first frame on the board. He really needs this frame going into that interval. Just stop the onslaught here a little. Again, 8 frames to be played this afternoon on a possible 11 this evening. You never know, it might go all the way.
O'Sullivan joked after his victory over Stephen Maguire last night that he hopes it doesn't go all the way, because he's very mindful of Selby's extraordinary record here at the Masters, with 11 wins out of 11 in final frame deciders. I think right now, if you offered Mark Selby a final frame decider, he'd snap your hand off.
9. Twelve. $13.
Needs some luck here with the contact on the pack. Struck them well. Hang on. Oof. Well, he hasn't had the luck because the guy's landing on a red. If anything, it's a little bit of a glancing blow, this, rather than... Well, he caught the top red, actually, quite well. Oh, has he found the gap? That would be incredible. I think he can kick that in with a little bit of side. No, he didn't think so. This frame is so important to him. Well, he's prepared to wait. You can't blame him.
Mark Selby, 20.
Selby's lead then 22 points, the first frame that's been even remotely competitive after that initial O'Sullivan onslaught.
Well, that's not bad from Ronnie, because Mark can't come down the left-hand side of the table. Yes, there's a path back to the bulk area, but he's got to find the gap between those two reds on the right-hand side. Should be okay. I mean, you can play this about half ball with a touch of left-hand side, just to swing the cue ball wide. Oh, he's caught the other red. It's okay, though. He's got away with it. And that's a bonus.
A big bonus, because had O'Sullivan been able to get his hand on the table, he'd have fancied knocking in one of those reds on the left-hand side of the table.
Well, I just wonder whether Mark might attack here. Red near the bottom side of the black is a problem. He's playing the safety. Great shot.
This is precisely what Selby needed, wasn't it, to just get a foothold in the match and feel as though he's competing. Sat out practically the entire first three frames, but now he's beginning to get a real taste for the atmosphere.
Ronnie's got to be careful here. There's plenty of reds that he can hit on the way back. Gone back to plan A. Well, the white's good, but he's pushed the red up the table. Just wonder whether he might take this red on down into this left corner pocket. He could play it into another red as a stopper. I think he's going for the pot here. Come back for one of the bulk colours. Play it with an element of safety. Nope. But it's a good cue ball. Would have had the option, of course, to lay the snooker if the red had gone in. In fact, the blue was potable from there. I think there's a red to the middle there. Through the gap, there's also the one right of the pink that goes. And the one straight, the straighter red, would be the better shot. Probably land on the pink. Yeah, it's just hold for the pink, but this needs potting. Great shot. Wasn't totally clean, but from his point of view, it went in. And he's given himself a great chance to take this fourth frame. That was a good pot, Phil. It needed good cueing from there across the base.
There was plenty of pressure on that one, wasn't there? Because he knew that he'd be leaving O'Sullivan back in again for a possible 4-0 lead if he missed it.
Now, it could be 3-1.
Well, I think it's got to be, from Selby's point of view. He cannot allow opportunities like this to slip by.
7. 8.
Well, somebody enjoyed that one.
Crowd getting a little overexcited. Yeah, it's beyond a joke now. Selby takes it in good heart, but I think we could do without the clapping after every shot. Well, I feel really sorry for Mark Selby, because I think his concentration was badly affected by the idiot in the crowd who felt the need to clap ironically after a couple of relatively straightforward shots. And that's the last thing the world #2 and defending champion needed at this stage of the match. The only good news for Selby was that he didn't leave anything for O'Sullivan. Well, here's a replay of the straightforward red that Selby missed. Now, did O'Sullivan play a safety there when he might have taken on a red?
I think he did. I was just waiting to see where the white finished, Phil. And I think this left-hand red, left of the pink, was on for him. But I think out of respect, he played the deliberate safety, which was a nice gesture.
It would be nice to see a replay of that shot that O'Sullivan played.
Well, that's not a nice way to return the favour, is it?
But if he did do that, then in every credit to O'Sullivan, because there's no doubt in my mind, Mike, that Selby's concentration was destroyed.
I think it was, and I think he was about 1.5 feet behind that left-hand red, which was possible to the left corner. I hope we get to see the replay once more, but that's the angle to get out of the snooker. Oh, he's gone around the... Has he? Oh, good shot. I just thought he was going to turn it over, actually.
The only thing, Mike, is that I'm surprised there was no reaction from the crowd. If if that indeed was what O'Sullivan did, because they're very knowledgeable here, Ali Pally, and I would have thought they'd have picked up on that. I must admit, I'd averted my gaze. I was looking at who had been clapping in the crowd.
Yeah, me too. I was sort of half on the table, half looking at the crowd. But I just watched it. I got a quick glance at the replay, and I just think that that red was definitely potable for Ronnie. But if he has done that, every credit to him.
He wants to win fair and square. There's no doubt about that. There's been something made of the alleged needle as we take a look at the 1977 UK champion Patsy Fagan. He's not that young, bless him, lovely guy. There's been a lot made, hasn't there, of this, this alleged needle between O'Sullivan and Selby, and O'Sullivan describing Selby as a torturer in his autobiography. But I think the truth is there's a huge amount of mutual respect in terms of the respective abilities of these players. Yes, they play different games. They're very different people. They might not be the best of friends, but there's no lack of respect, trust me.
I remember once, actually, an incident when it was Steve Davis and Tony Mayo in the final. I think it was the Mercantile Credit Classic, when Tony Mayo was down on the yellow and somebody had shouted out or something like that. And it was the final frame, I think, and Tony missed the yellow and Steve went on to clear. And Steve said something that he said, "Thank you very much," sarcastically, but the guys don't need that, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, it's amongst our society today, especially when these guys are giving it their all to entertain.
This frame then still very much in the balance, but it's Selby with the advantage. Big frame for him, of course, can ill afford to fall 4 adrift to an inform O'Sullivan. 36 points to the good, but he needs plenty more before he can think about closing the gap to 2 frames, the first mid-session interval.
Foul. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4.
Well, OK, as we watch the replays, left the red from distance, but we know the form Ronnie's in. Well, all he has to do is just knock this in, hold for the pink. Oh, bang in the middle. Was it ever in doubt?
Chance for O'Sullivan then to get right back into this frame. And there you see, 83%.
7.
That's exceptional from distance. Mark Selby, well down at the moment.
8.
Very early days still, of course, but as I mentioned earlier, when O'Sullivan starts getting his long game into good shape, you really have got problems if you're facing him across the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got a bit to do
14.
to win the frame here. Not straightforward.
15. $22. 23.
Try and get rid of the awkward one down the top cushion. Oh, it's yellow to green that's going to be the problem. Well, but when this guy's playing like
30.
this, you never think there's going to be a problem. Somehow he's got to get an angle on that yellow to disturb the green. Once he's not these 2 reds and the black. Oh, colours in, I should say. Could be 2 blacks. Might be a black and a pink.
31. $38.
Now, will he play on the pink here or the black? tuck the waistcoat in so it doesn't catch those up there.
Another sweetly struck shot from O'Sullivan.
Yes, but this is a very important shot here coming up, because he's got to somehow drop perfect on this yellow to get an angle to possibly come off the side cushion and run into the blue. Now, what is he thinking of here? He might play on the yellow to the centre. Let's see which way he goes. Doesn't like it. Well, he's got to really drop inch perfect on this yellow. That's the angle he's looking for. He can come off that left-hand cushion with a lot of topspin.
Wasn't far away from disturbing the yellow.
45. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 45.
Well, it's run safe. 45. He's put himself right back in the driving seat, or nearly, in this fourth frame. But it's still plenty on for Mark Selby. 13 points behind. It's going to be about that green ball now for both these players. Is it 3-1, or is it going to go 4-0 at the mid-session interval? Might find himself snooker behind the brown in a minute. That yellow needs to keep going though. Always played a poor one. That's probably the first poor safety shot I've seen Ronnie play so far. Now the green is Mark's problem. That definitely pots, but he's going to have to be annoyed with that. He's trying to get it beyond the middle pocket, of course, but then, well, Mark's got to apply some left-hand side and stun on the white here, and that's the angle that he's looking for, unless he's coming off two cushions side. Well, in that angle, that diagram tells us that he is. Now then, has he got it? Unlucky. Great effort. But the problem now is he's got to make sure he gets this green safe. So in some ways this might work out in Ronnie's favour.
Mark Selby, 2.
On the other hand, with a shot like that, it was well played.
Deserving of the applause. Fine safety from Selby.
He's desperate to get a frame on the board, though. Where's that cue ball? No, he's okay. Good shot there as well. Mark might play this thin, just chip the green to the blue. Well, he's got the first three. He wants this one as well. He's actually caught that cushion first, but he's had a great result there.
Could so easily have left a relatively straightforward green for O'Sullivan.
He's playing the slight swerve. He might pot this. I've seen it so many times before. You just thought that might happen. And if he's got an angle, well, he's 14 the lead, so he'll make it 18. Look at this. I just fancied him to knock this in the way things have been going. The blue, oh, sorry, the brown will make it 18 in the lead, 18 on. Don't know if he can get onto the blue. He can. He's got the angle. He's missed it. Oh, thought that was going to knuckle. Well, I mean, Mark was lucky to get away, really, with the shot that he played on the green. But to see the green go in once Ronnie had swerved around the pink. This is going 4-0. This is trouble here for the defending champion. It's the best of 19 frames, but in some ways I think Mark's happier that this interval is coming up.
Well, the first 3 frames were sheer perfection from Ronnie O'Sullivan. The fourth was much more keenly contested, but the result is the same. What a start from the Rocket in his bid for a 5th Masters crown. He leads the world #2 and reigning and 3 times Masters champion by 4 frames to 0. There are 4 more to come in this session. 10 is the top front runner this game has ever seen, as well as the most naturally talented player. Selby has a mountain to climb here. But as we've seen in the past, sometimes the mid-session interval produces a shift in momentum. Mark Selby will certainly be hoping that's the case here.
Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
There's the magnificent trophy. And there's a cheque for £200,000 to go with it.
Well, I'm sure Mark was glad of that interval. Ronnie wanted to stay out there, of course, so he can regroup. Had a knock on the practice table because he hasn't had many to go at out in the match arena. But you know, there's another 4 frames in this session, and if he can grab 3 of them, he's given himself a chance this evening. That's what he'll be thinking about. But his safety has got to be tight, and he's left one on. First make the pot, just depends where the white finishes here for Ronnie. Well, he's not missing, is he? He's on the brown, but I think he was expecting some sort of cannon on the red and the black to stay at this end. But let's have a look at this. How he's found the gap there, I don't know, because you can't play that. Stand there all day and try and do that again.
Didn't look as though there was space for a ball to fit through.
But he's got an angle on the brown here to come back for the reds.
Ronnie Wood, Rolling Stones legend, watches on. One of the many luminaries in the finals crowd today. There he is. He's sold a few records in his time. Quite a useful snooker player by all accounts.
Six.
There's his very good friend, the Whirlwind. It's certainly been a whirlwind performance from this man to this point. Unplayable in the first 3 frames, really.
12.
Engrossed in the action.
13.
Well, that tucked itself in from the near jaw.
20. 21.
I think many people were expecting another very tight battle between this pair.
28.
There's usually very little to choose between them when they contest
29.
the major matches. One Masters final win apiece. Selby winning 10-9, O'Sullivan 10-8. Selby winning the Welsh Open final 9-8 from a couple of frames behind.
36.
He also beat O'Sullivan 13-11 at the World Championship a few seasons back. But at the moment,
37.
it's anything but close.
Yes, and it might be. Look at the points there. 57 is against 378. If he gets this right. Oh, he's missed the blue.
Well, there's one for the archives. O'Sullivan misses a colour off its spot, shocker. Now what can Selby do to punish him?
They caught them well.
One.
Might play on the red on the black spot here to free up the black spot end. I want a little bit more on the cue ball. I think you can drop this in for the black.
5.
Well, obviously, he's going to have to start putting frames on the board. He took a calculated risk there.
6.
He was trying to play the cannon and push the black into a potable... Well, it was in a potable position, but just push it towards the corner pocket. Now he's nowhere. Just got to stick in there if he can.
Mark Selby, 6.
That's all he can do.
He'll be very disappointed, won't he, to have only made 6 from that opportunity. You see how the positional side of that shot went awry.
Yeah, I think he just had too much angle to drop the red in there for the black. That's a great shot. He's missed that black by a whisker. Just look where the white's finished now. He can do no wrong at the moment, Ronnie. And the stuff he played against Ricky Walden the other evening was just unbelievable. Actually, it was the afternoon, but I mean, it was still incredible stuff.
Well, the stuff he played in the first 3 frames today was pretty impressive.
Well, that's freed up the black.
Crowd loving every minute of this. Snooker of the highest caliber, major final, packed house.
Good cue ball, but he's brought the red up the table. Always been a little bit fortunate not to leave it on. I've just mentioned things are going well for Ronnie at the moment. Look at that. That would have been an easy starter. I think there is a red that goes to this left corner here, but of course the white going down the table, that red up there is a problem for Mark. Well, I just wonder if that's a plant. Is it nearly set? I think he's playing the single red actually. I'm surprised they didn't look at that plant. I think that could have been squeezed. It's a good cue ball though.
So Ronnie O'Sullivan's lead is 31 points in this 5th frame, the 5th of 8 this afternoon in this opening session.
Well, I wonder whether he is playing this plant now from that direction. No, caught it too thin. And he's lost the white. That's a poor shot from Ronnie, and he knows it. He will not be best pleased with that one. Had to catch those much thicker to try and squeeze the left on red.
Well, Selby's been reduced to half chances in the main so far today. He's got to start taking them though. Very awkward cueing. That was a very good pot in the circumstances.
1.
Well, he's got a shot on the yellow. He's got one on the pink as well. He might take the pink on. Yellow is easier. But of course, he needs a lot of topspin here to get back for these reds. Might have to be the rest. But it's a chance. Can he take it?
Three.
Well, it wasn't an easy red, and when you've had as little table time as Mark Selby has this afternoon, that much tougher.
I don't know whether he's got away with this. There might be a red for Ronnie to the right corner. Yes, well. If you can just pop this one in, get himself onto a colour. You never know, it could be 5-0. It's a great shot. Well, he's just on it, Phil, isn't he? He's too hot to handle at the moment. We saw this when Mark Selby beat Sean Murphy 6-1, and it didn't give Sean a lot of table time. And this is a total role reversal here for the champion.
Exactly, yes. O'Sullivan's potting them so cleanly. How do you stop the tidal wave? Already 31 points in front then. The Reds are all out in the open. It's looking ominous for Selby again.
4.
Sullivan taking no chances, spotting another foreign object on the cue ball. Cue Paul Collier, our referee for the final, as we see a replay of that red. If Selby had been in stroke and feeling confident, he'd have potted that.
Yes, and he hit it on the thick side, so that's why he ploughed into the... actually, he hit it on the thin side, the other side, so that's why into the side cushion. If he'd got the pot, he would have found the gap with the cue ball. It might cost him this frame. The way Ronnie's playing, I think we'll be expecting him to cost
11.
him the frame.
Be a major surprise if he doesn't clinch it from here.
Well, you know, it's just the snooker that he's playing at the moment, Phil, and it's, you know, it's wonderful to watch,
17.
but it's so clinical as well. I haven't seen Ronnie in this mood for some time.
18.
These are the tournaments that get his juices flowing these days. Arguably the most important tournament the game has to offer, bar the world title.
24.
He hasn't won this Masters crown for 5 years,
25.
O'Sullivan. Keen to put that right this evening. And the way he's going, who would bet against him?
Well, this frame, another one, has gone for the champion.
$32. $38. $40.
The only surprise in this frame was that O'Sullivan missed what for him was an easy ball. Blew off its spot when he was on 37, but he's got back in.
33.
And he's walking on water again.
Easy game, this, isn't it? So this fella.
Those centre pocket shots makes them look so easy. I've always felt Stephen Hendry was the greatest ever when it came to his accuracy into the centre pockets, but I think O'Sullivan is right up there. Mark Selby, once again, spending most of the frame in his chair. Ronnie O'Sullivan completely dominant in the early stages of this Masters final, leading as he does by 5 frames to nil. He's already halfway to a place in the record books for a 5th Masters title. What can Selby do? Welcome back to Alexandra Palace. It's the Ronnie O'Sullivan show in this Masters final so far. 5 frames have gone. They've all gone the way of Rocket Ronnie, chasing his 5th Masters title. The defending champion, Mark Selby.
Mark Selby to break.
He's in a heap of bother.
Well, he's halfway there. Hold the back page.
And of course now guaranteed at least a 2-frame lead going into this evening's resumption. That's assuming Selby can win the final 3 of this session.
Well, he's just played a double, and Ronnie might play a similar double here to the right middle, just hold for the black. It's really the only one he can leave. Might play it. Well, I don't think he expected it to land there. It's on, but it looks fairly straight actually from there, and there's some distance between the cue ball and the red. Well, this is some pot that Mark's taken on here.
Knows he'll be leaving one if he misses it.
Well, if he hasn't got any angle, I would suggest to play safety off the pack. Well, he's unlucky because he's got a lot of backspin, not to leave the one in the middle of the table, but as you see, the other one's gone back over the corner. So he's not having the best of it at the moment, but can he get something out of this session? He needs to. Problem is for Mark, frames are running out. Ronnie back in again.
Well, you said earlier, Mike, very much a role reversal from yesterday when Mark Selby was doing precisely this to an out-of-sort Sean Murphy, who was frozen out in the early stages, wasn't he, and never managed to find any form in the latter stages of the match.
5.
Well, as you mentioned as well, Phil, you know, he gets his juices flowing for the biggies, you know, the UK and this one in the world. But, I mean, he just turned up like this. And he's there to make a point, isn't he? That he is the best player in the world. There's no doubt about that. And he certainly is on this form.
We missed him here last year. I'm not sure the rest of the field did, but he is the standard bearer. He remains
13.
by a distance the world's best player at his best.
Here we go again then.
Who says you can't play top-class snooker in your late 30s? And that's another record that O'Sullivan could potentially set in the modern era. Receive wisdom, certainly in the 90s onwards, has been that you peak in your early to mid-30s, and by the time you reach your late 30s, your best years are behind you. Well, this guy is saying, I beg to differ with that analysis. The way things are going at the moment,
22.
the best could be yet to come.
Well, he's there as long as he wants to be there, isn't he? It's as simple as that. You know, if he's enjoying his game, enjoying life and everything like that, and he wants to play, he'll play. You know, we hope he does. We hope he's here for the next 3 or 4 years.
29.
Let's not forget a few years ago when his mind wasn't quite right, in as much that regards stuff off the table, that we all thought that he was going to retire. I'm glad that he didn't, and a few others, well, thousands of others, have thought the same way. But he's back here, and he's playing some great snooker.
And I'm sure it helps that he's in great physical shape. We know how much pleasure he gets out of running. That was the name of his autobiography.
37.
Got that. It's good.
38. $45.
There's a possibility here that this could
46.
be 8-0 when the session finishes. Packed house here at Alexander Palace. Very respectful of these two players, but I mean, this is well, he might have the one to the corner, but again, he's producing a very high standard here, Phil. He's done it all week.
53.
And I'm sure Selby is wondering right now where his first frame's going to come from. Got to be a bit careful here, though. He's not over the line yet. No, he's pushed that wide. So, half a chance then for Selby to hit back in this frame. He desperately needs to make something happen here.
Yes, and the Reds are in good position as well. Well, he's got a perfect angle just to clip these two Reds open. He will need them. Nicely done. Holding for the red to the middle. Well, really, okay, the one in the middle of the back cushion is not really a problem. It's the one on the side cushion. But this is a great chance here for the Jester. Still got a chance of winning this one, and possibly the two after that. If he came out of this 5-3, I feel like he's won the session 6-2.
It would be an extraordinary result for him, given the way things have gone to this point. But this is a real test of character for Selby, isn't it? Yes, they're there to be taken.
But he's shown us that he's come through on many occasions before.
It'd certainly be a huge confidence booster if he could pinch it.
$23. $24.
He's landed straight on the blue, but it's not bad. He can just run through for the right-hand red. He's thought about holding the white in the middle of the table, actually. But I'll leave it fairly straight, then he can hold for the pink. Well, actually, this is a good shot because he's thinking ahead here. Not only is he going to pop this red, he's going to try and move the one off the cushion. So it's
29.
Good thinking. But he must make sure of the pot if he's committing himself to that shot. Great shot. Well played. No, he has given himself a chance. Okay, the one near the middle of the back cushion is slightly awkward, but it's a couple of inches off the cushion. Played that very well.
That was the shot of the match for Selby, I reckon.
And this is where he's got to make this count, keep Ronnie in his chair, try and get some
32.
table time. It's not easy when you're up against an onslaught. That's his highest break in this match so far, 32.
That tells the story, doesn't it? He's been living off scraps. But what a clearance this would be if he could pull it off. He's given himself a chance.
Just wonder whether he's going to hold the white there near the yellow and possibly leave an angle to try and chip the other red out from that cushion. I think he's thinking of that shot. I mean, he doesn't want to leave that awkward red down the cushion. If he leaves this high on this red, he could play the cannon into the other one and try and get onto a colour. I'm sure that's his thinking. Now watch this. He's going to hit this, hot this red, cushion first, and try and clip it over the other corner.
35.
This shot here could win him this frame. Got underneath it. He caught it wrong. He's got
36.
underneath the red. He needed to be about quarter ball. Now there's pressure on this next pot if he takes it on.
I'm surprised he hit it as hard as he did as well.
Just got too much backspin on the white there. Just 17 points behind. I'm sure that he's going to lay a snooker here. Come down off the black and just try and get the snooker on the last red. The yellow is too risky and he can't guarantee position on the red, so no point. He's got himself back into the sixth frame.
Black ball.
Trying to lay the snooker.
Mark Selby, 36.
Played it quite well. Needing to make sure you bounce that black off the cushion. A good visit from him though. Ronnie can see the red. Wow, this is a chance. He can pot it.
Bit of noise at the back of the arena. Selby composing his thoughts. This is his second opportunity then to get his first frame of the final on the board.
Yes, I think it was just the arena announcement actually. It was just bleeding through into the match arena. Well played. Nice cannon on the black. Slow down, slow down. Oh, that's unlucky. He'll lay the snooker now. There's no way he'll take the blue one. Good red. It deserved to be on a colour.
Mark Selby,
The usual battling qualities then are coming out, Phil.
He's played this frame very well, hasn't he? He's done really nothing wrong. Just failed to get position on the awkward last red, but he potted that red after O'Sullivan's safety, and he's right back in the frame.
He's got another chance here. He can pot the yellow and he's got the angle to screw back for the green into the yellow pocket. Just one good pot in position and it could be his first frame on the board. Well played. Pass better. He's just beginning to find his feet here, Matt Selby, because he struck that beautifully. He hasn't had the table time. He hasn't had the chance to show what he can do. Well, we know what he can do.
5.
So another excellent pot from Selby has set up this opportunity to finally get on the board in this final. But he's still looking cool and composed. He'll still keep believing that he can turn this around. He's beaten O'Sullivan many times before in big matches.
9.
He's played that well. Got a perfect angle on the blue just to drop it in. Get close to this pink. Might be playing a half-stun shot, actually. Needs them all. No, just dropping it in. But as you say, Phil, this has been a really solid frame here from the champion. Just what he needed. Not just mentally to, you know, to steady the ship, but just to give him a little bit of a lift, a confidence lift here.
20.
He's had to work really hard. But Vicky Layton, his wife, with a big smile on her face, will be pleased to see her husband finally delivering in the 2014 Masters final. Mark Selby stops the rock and pumps his fist in ironic fashion because he's closed the gap, but it's still Ronnie O'Sullivan who enjoys a commanding lead of 5 frames to 1. 10, remember, is the target to be Masters champion.
No, it was just signs there in that last frame that he was getting it together. You know, he was starting to play well. Ronnie's back first, but you know, he'll be looking to apply more pressure here. He'll be looking for these two as well. I mean, 7-1 going into this evening. That's some lead.
And remember, O'Sullivan is looking poised to move 6-0 in front. He was on a break of 53. He missed a red into the green pocket, and that was what launched the Selby fight back. And he really did play a solid frame from that point onwards. He deserved to win that one. And he's certainly not lacking for support here. Yes, there are the usual legion of fans for Rocket Ronnie O'Sullivan, but Selby has his share of the crowd support.
Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Frame 7 then, O'Sullivan with the honour. How will this session turn out? Remember, 10 is the target when they resume later tonight.
I mean, even 6-2 behind for Mark wouldn't be bad, but 5-3 would be a definite bonus. Long way out there, though.
His long potting has been a bit of an issue today. Down at 38%. That's improved quite dramatically in the last frame or so. It was down as low as 14% at one stage. 69 is pretty good from O'Sullivan. If you're getting 2 out of 3, you're doing all right. Expecting to get that one, though. So are we seeing a little momentum shift in our final here?
Well, he can hold for the pink. Black's tied up. That's okay. You can hold for these 2 reds on the right-hand side. I think that would help, actually. I think if the pink went onto the blue spot.
Selby attacked by a fly. He's got enough on his plate facing O'Sullivan without insects giving him grief for the smart. Might even have been a interesting looking beast. And it's still hanging around.
Seven. Eight.
He's lost the white there. Played on the brown. And you can see that he's took the red in the corner of the pocket. That's why he's got a narrow angle off the cue ball. Thinking about cutting the blue back. It's not easy. He's got the green to the middle if he wishes. Could hold for the red to the same middle pocket here. These are always tricky, but the blue is available if he gets this one. Oh.
Mark Selby 11.
And I don't think he's covered it.
So that fly is still hanging around, getting a bird's eye view of the action, or a fly's eye view in this case.
One.
Well, that certainly helps with the blue back at its own spot, with pink and black tied up. Needs to keep going.
7.
He's just got there. He's got an angle. No open reds, so he'll either play the power stun shot, as Hawkeye gives us the angle. He could play this with 2 cushions, actually. He's playing the power stun shot. No, no good. Well, the red down the cushion is on, but it's not easy.
12.
I'm surprised he didn't play that off 2 cushions, actually. He normally plays those very well. 2 cushions with topspin on the left-hand side.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 12.
Well, Selby's tried on a number of occasions to end the life of that fly prematurely, and I think we can assume he has finally achieved that. His biggest break of the match.
Brilliant. Well, he was like Zorro there, wasn't he? But I'll tell you what, if his play starts to get as sharp as that, he'll be happy. Great red. Sorry, Phil.
I was just going to say, he needs to be as ruthless with O'Sullivan from here on in, doesn't he? As he was with the poor old fly.
Yeah.
That was a lovely red.
Mark the SWAT Selby.
Mark Selby 1.
Looking to develop the reds there in playing safe with the yellow. Achieved that to some extent.
Well, I think Ronnie thought that was a bit of a big bounce off the top cushion.
There's been nothing cagey about this final so far, though, has there? And I guess that's due in no small part to how fluent O'Sullivan has been, but not really the hint of a scrappy frame. Selby's shot choices continue to be positive. That's a pretty good safety. Sullivan snookered on all reds then.
Oh, this is not clever.
Foul.
He's caught the black, but can
Selby
Mark
7.
see this red? He might have covered it, actually. If not, it will go back. Yes, he can't see the red. Ronnie trying to rest on this red here near the top cushion. Having to swerve slightly around the brown, but he's got to get a lot of action on the white to get there. I think the middle pocket's in the way. Trying to get beyond the middle pocket this time. I'm not sure whether this angle is on. He's going to try it again. This time he did play beyond the middle pocket, and this looks better. Yep, nicely done. Well, I thought he was playing the safety, but as soon as Mark hit that, he walked away from it. That could prove to be costly. Pink and black tied up as we watch the replay, but there's 3 or 4 reds in the open here, and Ronnie can develop the high value colours in a little while.
Hard to know what he was playing there, really.
Mark?
Was it a safety, or was he playing
No.
on the baulk colours?
No, Mark. Oh no, he played the pot. Yeah, well, he definitely played the attempted pot to the middle.
But getting position was always optimistic.
Yeah, I'm with you, Phil. At first, I thought he was just chipping off the red for safety. I didn't think he'd take a risk at this stage.
4.
Might punch into them here, but he's got to push one red into others. Yeah, that was the problem. If he didn't get the full ball contact, he wasn't going to clip open the black and the pink. Now he's out of position.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 9.
Do you know, I think he's left this red on. I think Mark can get between the brown and the green. Ronnie's overhit that. He's looking at one down the table. Oh, amazing. 85% safety. He's higher in the safety stakes, but he's 5-1 behind. And what a great pot that is.
Just shows how misleading the stats can be.
And I suppose he's not played that many, actually, Phil, to be honest, because he hasn't had the table time.
He's certainly finding his potting range now, though.
Well, again, you know, he could still come out of this session 5-3. He'll be absolutely delighted. And Ronnie said, I don't want this to go all the way, because I know what he's like. We all know what he's like.
Well, 11 final frame deciding wins out of 11 here at the Masters is about as remarkable a statistic as you'll find anywhere. He's got a lot of work to do before he can entertain thoughts of that nature, however.
Well, that's gone wrong. Didn't catch the red
11.
in front of the pink and black there. Well, the 2 reds actually, but that was a great chance to open things up. Oh, is he taking this on? He's got it. What a shot. Oh, what a shot. I mean, he could easily have rattled that and left it there for Ronnie. But,
oh, clean as a whistle. Perfectly struck.
I know that the walk-on music, Phil, that Sean Murphy comes out to the man of steel, but this man is the man of titanium.
15.
Well, he's certainly remaining super positive in his shot selection. We saw him take on that ambitious red just now, which he missed into the right centre. And that was another very tough pot that he nailed this time. Can he take the frame with it?
$16.
Well, you'll screw off these here, pop this,
21.
catch that red next to it, and then open up pink and black. Probably back for the blue. You might even finish on pink or black here, depends where they finish.
22.
Not as planned. Well, it's going to have to be the green or the yellow to continue. But at least he's got them open. He's giving himself a chance to win the frame here.
51 remaining. 20 points his lead.
Wasn't clean, but saw it drop. I wonder whether the pink goes. He could drop on the black here, but the pink would be handy if it went to the
25.
right corner. He's just checking that now.
Let's remember the penultimate frame of this opening session.
Well,
26.
obviously it doesn't, so you play the green and come around about, what, 2-3 cushions here for this right-hand red. We keep saying it, Phil, but I mean, it's amazing, isn't it, his resilience.
Yes, it's been very impressive, this response from Selby to falling 5-0 behind. O'Sullivan playing out of his skin, as he's done on a few occasions this week. He was 53 points to the good in that 6th frame, hot favourite to move 6-0 in front, and at that stage we were thinking potential whitewash, so well was he playing. But Selby is showing all of his fighting qualities right now. He's got to keep showing them.
Well, he's already had a look at the black.
30.
Well, this is a bit tight, actually. Once he pots this black, he might have to, as Ronnie looks on, he can run through and knock the pink off the spot, but I just wonder whether he might attempt a little cannon. Well, I think he's looking at just dropping this in and just taking the glancing blow on the pink. Doesn't matter if he misses the pink, because the black will go onto the pink spot, as long as he does land on this red.
And if he pots the black, O'Sullivan can only tie. Ronnie's turn to warm his chair.
Yeah, he's got to be careful here. And there's the other shot I suggested. He could screw into the red, play a little cannon, about quarter ball. Depends if it's downward striking, which it is. So he's playing the cannon, I think, to hold. Missed it.
Well, the most important thing was to pot the black. As I just mentioned, O'Sullivan, as things stand, can only tie.
37.
Would love to have clinched the frame, of course, at that visit, but at least he's in charge.
Make sure of a good safety here, though.
Mark Selby, 37.
That's better. He's played 1 or 2 loose ones so far today, and he's been punished for them by Ronnie. Oh, he's had to sit that one out. Ronnie doesn't like sitting in that chair, can I tell you. He has to be out there knocking them in. Oh, hang on, wait for it.
If at first you don't succeed. O'Sullivan would have needed a snooker had he failed to make contact with the red. As things stand, he can still force a respot.
He might play the cross double here. Remember this blue that he played against John Higgins to get onto the pink the other evening? No, he's going to wait for an easier, a better chance, but that's not great. Trying to get the snooker behind the blue, but I just wonder whether Ronnie might try and pop this in and land on the black here.
What a pot from O'Sullivan. What a pot. And now he does have the chance to force a respotted black in this 7th frame.
But at this level, Phil, we all know he shouldn't have been given the chance. That was a poor safety from Mark Selby. I just thought when he offered up the chance of the pot, Ronnie would take it on. But as you say, great red.
And what a huge frame this has now become, because
8.
Selby, just a couple of minutes ago, looks set to close to just 3 frames behind. with the chance to make it only a 2-frame deficit going into this evening's finale. If O'Sullivan can clear here and then pop the respot, how damaging would that be to Selby mentally?
Yeah, he won't go for the snooker. He'll go for the respot.
13. $17. $22.
One good pot on the pink then, and it looks like a respotted black.
It's not about the abilities at this level. It's about the mental strength. Trying to break down your opponent.
So after 19 minutes and 52 seconds, we come down to a black ball shootout for the 7th frame, and what a frame it is. O'Sullivan will either lead by 6 frames to 1, or will have his deficit reduce Selby to 5-2.
Ronnie won the spin, and he's put Mark in.
What a big shot this is.
Yeah, well, they normally play this, just push this to the side cushion. You know, in the old days, you'd play it up and down, but you always had to get the pace right. They tend to play it that way now.
We saw Barry Hawkins made a hash of that shot earlier in the week, and it ended up costing him the match.
Will he play the double? Will he play the double? I think he did, you know.
Long way out with it, but it's not too bad.
I think we might see Mark take this on. It's in the middle of the table. He could go to either corners. It's a massive shot for him, this. Absolutely massive. 5-2. He could still make it 5-3.
The difference between a 3-frame and a 5-frame deficit. Decision time for the jester.
He's looking at the angle. I think he's going for this to the yellow pocket.
Crowd hold their breath. Now, is he lucky? Is he lucky? Well, it's on. It's not easy because O'Sullivan's close to the cushion. It's just off straight.
I fancy him to knock this in, though.
Rueful smile from Selby. He can only sit and hope. Right in the heart of the pocket. What a frame that was. And look at the determination etched on O'Sullivan's face. He knows how big that moment was in this Masters final. It looked as though Selby was closing to 5-2 behind and game very much back on. But O'Sullivan has broken his heart there by potting a respotted black and has extended his lead again to 5 frames. There's one more in this session, and O'Sullivan to get his first on the board, and he played some good stuff in that one too. Just a slightly loose safety, which allowed O'Sullivan a sight at that tricky red, which he nailed with aplomb, and then cleared the table to force the respot, potted the respotted black.
Mark Selby to break.
It all adds up then to a commanding 6-1 lead for the 4 times Masters champion. This, the final frame of the afternoon session.
And it's not a great break-off shot either. He immediately left Ronnie a red on here. Although the black's tied up, he can get around for the blue. But you could just see it etched on Ronnie's face there, the importance of that black to the middle in that last frame. What a big frame that was for both players.
Stealing himself once again.
Yeah, just resetting himself.
Wasn't far away. And he's left it.
Well, he was back for the blue. Couldn't get the pot, though. I think this one might go in. But he also has to get back for the blue here. Pink and black tied up. Which he has done. Well played.
One.
Now, there's loose reds here, but, well, actually, he's looking at this one above the black because he can just drop this blue in. Needs to be high on that red to try and move the other one away from the black. So within a couple of shots, he could open things up. Well, 6-2, Phil. He's not out of this.
No, not out of it. Still the tallest of orders, but one thing is certain, he has to win this frame. It's another test of character here, Selby, to put the disappointment of the manner in which he lost the previous frame out of his mind and just focus on every ball here. Remember, Selby lost a 5-1 lead in a recent UK final to Neil Robertson, who battled back to win pretty comfortably in the end, 10-7. So things can turn around, and have many times before.
Well, so far this week he's made a great defence of his title, and first of all he's trying to make the score look respectable, and then of course give himself a chance to win this evening. Well, this time I think he has got the right angle on this red. Yep, one couple of inches to the left would have been nice.
18.
I just wonder whether he can open up the black here, put it into a potable position. I've tied it up once more, but having said that, he's got a great angle on the blue here. If he goes into the pink fullish, he can really scatter them.
Needs a Stephen Hendry special here. He hit it well. How's his luck?
Not so good. Unless he's on this one near the pocket.
24.
And he's not. Didn't quite catch the pink bang on the nose. It was just off centre. Well, I don't know whether he's going to think about playing a plant here, one onto the other with that red near the corner pocket. He's got to hide that. That's what he's checking. It's not easy, but somehow he's got to try and get that red away from that pocket. Well, I think that's what that's in his mind. He's intending the plant, and the red's not right over the pocket, of course. This is missable. Great shot. He's lost the white.
25.
Just over hit it. Good judgment there, though. He's still at the table. He can lay the snooker. Well, as often we see on these fast cloths, it's very difficult just to duck in behind those colours. And he's given Ronnie the chance of this red on the right-hand side.
I know Sullivan has been pretty reliable with shots like this so far this afternoon. 25 points Selby's lead in a frame he surely has to win. He's left that one as well, I think. Sullivan's turn for a rueful smile.
It so often happens, doesn't it? You wobble it in one pocket, it comes back across the table and land there. It's incredible how many times that happens. Well, he was hoping to be on the pink there to try and scatter them, I think. That's not great. Might still take the blue on for the loose red on the right-hand side.
Needs this to go in. Knew he'd be leaving an easy one for O'Sullivan.
Selby 1.
If he didn't get that blue, a little bit of extra pressure on it.
One.
Well, he's purposely left this positional shot low on this red. He's going to scatter them here.
7.
He'll pop this, try and open a few more. Again, it might even bring the black into play. Frame and match could be about this next shot. Well, didn't split as intended.
8.
He's got a long shot. If you watch the replay, they hardly moved. He's thinking about the pink to the middle. No, I think he's going to the middle.
Oh, what a shot again, though. It really is unbelievable. Such a tough shot, made to look so easy.
Might fooled a cameraman there, didn't it?
And that's opened things up.
15.
Danger signs again for Selby then. So close to reducing his deficit to 5-2 in the previous frame. O'Sullivan nailing that respotted black for 6-1. Can he make it 7-1 and move to within 3 of the title?
Well, Mark spent a lot of time in that chair this afternoon.
21.
He's hoping not so this evening. But from 7-1, Ronnie only needing 3. That's a long way back.
We're back underway, by the way, around about 7 o'clock UK time, 8 o'clock if you're watching in Europe. Possible 11 frames. Right now, you have to doubt whether that many will be
28.
needed.
$29.
He's got a slight angle here just to nudge that red towards this left corner. And that will open up the others. Oh yeah, that one goes. Well, it looks fairly straight on the pink. I'm not sure whether he can hold. He's just checked the one near the black, actually, so he'll play a cannon into the other one. No, he was able to hold. Well, this goes on to the... I assume it'll go on to the black spot. Oh, referee, yeah. I thought Paul Collier was just going to get the marker out there.
35.
I think the one that's just above the black will go into this right corner. Of course, that will open up the other red. So all of a sudden, within 2 or 3 shots, this could become a frame-winning opportunity
36.
here. He's got to float this pink in, make sure he gets himself in the right position. Didn't want to push that.
This is a tricky little shot. Can go wrong, these.
Yeah.
And it has gone wrong.
But he's covered the pocket. It's
Ronnie
been a little
O'Sullivan,
fortunate
36.
to cover the pocket, but I'm sure Mark glad to see it not go in, because that definitely would have been end of frame.
Ronnie O'Sullivan pinched the previous frame that he might well have lost to move 6-1 in front. Selby has got to turn the tables here and win a frame that he looked like losing to keep in touch going into this evening's deciding session.
And this is not easy, Phil, is it? He's trying to float this red in down the cushion here for the pink, and this is very missable. If he rattles this frame is over.
Got to commit completely to it. He knows this has to drop. Oh. Well, for a moment it looked as though it was staying out. It caught the cushion pretty early in the piece, but it did drop. Watch this.
It had second thoughts, didn't it? The only problem he's got now, he's gone too far on this pink. He can't get back for this red. He wanted to be sort of straight across the table on this pink. Now, can he get across to have a shot on that red near the black? does go. Oh, slow down, slow down. No good. I'll have to play the safety.
So just 3 points between them then.
7.
Another crucial frame for Mark Selby, certainly. Ronnie O'Sullivan knows he's got the minimum of a 4-frame cushion, and he'd have taken that at the start of the afternoon, I'm sure, but it might be even better. Mark Selby's got to do everything in his power to make sure it isn't. And he's got to be very careful not to touch that blue. He's perilously close. Paul Collier, eagle-eyed, watching on.
Well, imagine that if he'd called the foul there, Phil, because, of course, with the ball not being hit, it would have been an instant free ball. And that would have been a disaster for Mark Selby if it just caught that blue.
He was a millimetre away. Just as well he's in such good shape.
Yeah. I think I might have been playing with the rest. A possible plant here. I'll tell you what, though, where's this going to finish?
Very much still up for grabs then, this final frame of the opening session.
He's played that quite well. I say that now, though. It's gone between the yellow and the brown. The pot is on for Ronnie. And the blue's waiting.
Yes, he has the angle, doesn't he, to get back to the balk end.
And if he knocks this in, it could be 7-1. There's been a couple of occasions here this afternoon that Mark Selby has not been... His safety hasn't been quite spot on. No. Well, the final frame of the session then could still go either way. I think we've been sort of averaging 14, 15 minute frames. The fourth was the longest, 26 minutes. Oh, he's played one. What did I say about the safety? Brilliant.
Just when he needed it too. Will it be a frame winner? Oh, coat of paint, coat of paint. It looked like a great shot. Look at how close this was.
If you played a straight line, you just missed the yellow. But I mean, have you got it on there, Michaela?
Just checking the precise position of the cue ball before O'Sullivan committed the foul. Kayla Tab, our marker, helping out with the still frame. It's just about 2 or 3 millimetres further to the left as you look than it was originally.
Looks a better angle. Well played. Well, the danger there was to hit it fullish and leave the pot on. Caught it well. It wasn't that far away the first time. Needs that white to run on. I think Ronnie will play the safety. Oh, hang on. Oof, nearly caught the pocket. With that double kiss, he's left that red on. He caught that far too thick.
Just a little too thick from Selby as well, and look where he's left the red. Yes, he's got lots of distance between cue ball and object ball, as much as you can have on a snooker table, the full 12 feet, but it's right over the pocket. And he's held for the pink. That was a good shot from O'Sullivan.
He'll go for the frame here. He could play the snooker, but I'm sure he's going to, as we watch the replay, played that well. He'll stun off the side cushion for the final red. Needs a bounce. That's perfect. This will hug the cushion. All he has to do is just drop this in for the black. This could be 7-1 if this goes in. I think it will be.
Big shot then.
Yes.
It's hugging the cushion all the way. And one good pot here for good position on the yellow, and Mark Selby will be in hot water yet again.
A couple of frames the mark could have gone differently. And it was the respot black that you know, could have been 2 on the board. This could have been 3 on the board actually here. Well, that chance he had, but you've got to say overall, Ronnie has been very good this session. Great shot. Power, check, side. He's got them all.
He's got every shot in the book and quite a few that aren't in the book.
Well, he created an angle there, Phil, didn't he, off the yellow? It didn't look like he had one, but he created one.
Well, what a performance again from this man. He's a maestro, all right.
24.
Completely dominant in the first 3 frames. Selby didn't get a sniff. It's been more competitive since then. But unfortunately, from the world #2 and defending Masters champion's point of view, he's only got 1 frame to show for his efforts. O'Sullivan has 7, and it means that when they return tonight at 8 o'clock European time, 7 o'clock in the UK, Ronnie O'Sullivan will need just 3 more frames to lift his 5th Masters title in 10 final appearances. It's been another virtuoso display from Rocket Ronnie. The 5 times and reigning world champion is in supreme form, and Mark Selby has an absolute mountain to climb if he's to get back into this final. 7-1, O'Sullivan.